John in Boston is in the 32% tax bracket. Should he do Roth conversions? Flight Deck Dad and Irish Girl in Pensacola have a lot of tax-free pension income. Should they do Roth conversions? Bert and Ernie in New Jersey wonder if they should convert to Roth or take advantage of 0% capital gains tax rates. Join Big Al spitball for all of them today on Your Money, Your Wealth podcast number 529. Plus, Michael and his wife in Bellevue are 34 in the 24% tax bracket and wonder if they should contribute to tax-free or tax-deferred accounts, and if they should slow down on retirement savings and start a bridging account for the years between when they want to punch the clock in their early to mid-50s and when they can access their retirement savings. Then, for something completely different, Frenchie from Maine writes back in. What are the disadvantages to paying off her mortgage ASAP, and what's the tax efficiency of a money market compared to bond funds? I'm executive producer Andy Last, and here are the hosts of Your Money, Your Wealth, Joe Anderson, CFP, and Big Al Clopine, CPA.
All right, we got John from Boston, Massachusetts. It goes like this, Big Al.
Okay.
All right, how best to plan for twice yearly royalty payments that can push us into the 32% tax bracket? It's a good problem to have, but I do love doing those Roth conversions and not sure I should do them. Our RMDs will be healthy, so to the extent I can minimize those. I'm 61 and disabled, getting Social Security disability. My wife's 61. I'm planning to work until age 70.
And that's all the information that he gave us. So then he got an email from me that said, can you give us a little more information? And this is what he provided.
Got it. So he's getting royalties. That's pushing him up into the 32% tax bracket.
Correct.
And he's curious, should I do conversions?
Should he still do Roth conversions or not?
At 32%.
Right.
I got that question today at that webinar we did. Should I convert in the 32% tax bracket?
I heard you.
And I was like, okay, well, we need a little bit more.
We do. And fortunately, we got a little bit
Yeah,
more.
we got.
Okay.
So Andy to the rescue here.
Okay.
So John responds back. He goes, hey, I got no pets. Both like meow.
I think it's Miomi. Pinot Noir.
Miomi, Noir.
Noir.
Or something like that.
Is that like a special Pinot?
I think that's the brand name. That's the company that makes it is Miomi.
Meow me.
You could have
Something
just
like
said
that.
They both like wine.
Yeah.
That would work.
Are they both like Pinot?
Got it.
Yeah, that's true.
Cars and Acura. Plenty saved, but how to best handle the Roth conversions or anything given royalties when RMD is expected to be large. Good problem to have, but still a problem. This year, royalties will be $300,000. He was a professor, a little school textbook.
I think so, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
A popular textbook at that.
Jeez. I wonder if
being used nationally, I think.
if it went to the University of Florida.
Maybe.
$2.8 million in pre-tax, $700,000 in Roth, $500,000 in a brokerage account. HSA is $37,000. All right. Social Security is $70,000. 3Me wife will be $4,000. Annual spend $96,000. So he's got $3 million in a retirement account. How old is he again? 61?
Yep.
Okay. So $3 million by the time he's 75 is going to be $6 million.
Yep.
6 times 4 is 24. So $240,000 is what his RMD could potentially be, plus his Social Security. So he's pushing $300,000.
Right.
He continues to get royalties every year of another $300,000. That's $600,000 of income.
If they continue. I mean, to me, that's the question, right? What's the expectation on the royalties? Are they going to continue for the next decade or more? Then you have a bigger problem, or 20 years or more. It seems to me with a textbook, it's going to go out of date and maybe be replaced by something else. So you wouldn't necessarily have these royalties forever. So the point is, from 61 to 75, you got 14 years before you're required minimum distribution. So maybe a way to think about it, if you think the royalties are only going to be around for, let's say, 5 years, is don't do Roth conversions yet. But as they start to decrease, do your Roth conversions later, and do them at year end when you know what those royalties are going to be. That's how I think I would do it, Joe.
Yeah, 32% tax bracket. You're pushing $500,000 on the top end of taxable income, $400,000 on the low end. So if you want to go, I think you'll probably be in the 24. It could be the 28% tax bracket. depending on where tax rates go in retirement. So his RMD is probably not going to touch 32 unless he gets the royalties.
Unless that continues, right?
Right. If the royalties continue, then convert.
Yeah, like let's say the royalties continue at this level for the next 30 years, then go ahead and convert.
Yeah.
Agreed. It doesn't seem that likely, though, to me that they'd continue at that level for that long.
We don't know, John from Boston, what textbook this is.
Well, the other thing, too, is he could be updating it every year, new version. And
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Come on, he listens to Your Money or Wealth. He's a smart man.
Right.
Okay. Well, congratulations on the royalty.
Yeah.
Could you imagine writing a textbook?
No.
That would be...
I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do a page.
You said you couldn't write a financial planning textbook or a retirement textbook? I mean, I think you have. I think you basically have, Joe.
I don't think a textbook.
We could write books. We could orally talk to a ghostwriter, right?
There you go.
Our thoughts and have them write it. But a textbook?
I'm just trying to think of like my finance textbooks, statistics, calculus, just standard, just finance 101.
They're a little dry.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine. But I did have a professor at university. He wrote his textbook.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, very cool. Let's move on. Let's see. We got, hi, Andy, Joe, and Big Al. This is Flight Deck Dad. Oh, Flight Deck Dad. An Irish girl here from Pensacola, Florida. Flight Deck Dad. That's a badass name, Flight Deck Dad. I found your show on YouTube, and you guys are great. Joe's lack of... Okay. Why you got to bust my balls, Flight Deck Dad?
I'll read that one. Joe's lack of...
Pronunciation. I got this. While reading is hilarious. So you like it when I just sound like a complete imbecile?
It's amazing how many people say that. A lot of people apparently like it when you sound like a complete imbecile.
Yeah. I make people feel better.
About themselves.
Themselves.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, this guy is a complete idiot.
I could have pronounced that word.
All right. I'm 52. In Irish is 47. I'm retired due to injuries from the Navy, and wifey is an administrator at a local hospital. We have 2 golden retrievers, but if the 1-year-old doesn't stop pissing on the floor, well, 1 dog. Wow. White Deck Dad.
Conditions.
Just coming off hot. Our hope is Irish will retire at 56 years old. We will have 3 spoiled daughters, age 16, 13, 10. 4-year degrees, including room and board, are paid for by the VA. Drive a 2018 Honda Pilot. So he calls himself Flight Deck Dad because he drives a Honda Pilot, or do you think he was actually a pilot in the Navy?
I think he's in the Navy.
Well, he was in the Navy, but was he on a ship or was he a pilot? Was he Iceman?
He was on
R.I.P. Val Kilmer.
He was on the deck.
Okay,
that's all we know.
He was on the flight deck.
Yeah, that's what we know.
Got it. All right. Was he like Mikey Martin jumping out of helicopters? Or was he actually flying the helicopter?
I couldn't tell you.
This is going to become a lifestyle podcast instead of a financial podcast.
All right. So wifey drives a 2021 Jeep Wrangler. My daughter drives a 2024 Jeep Wrangler.
Wow. Daughter gets a better car.
Little Jeep family.
Yeah.
All cars are paid off when you live in Pensacola. It's basically required to have a boat. Paid off as well. Homes, primary, worth $1.2, $490,000 loan at 2.5%. A beach house valued at $800,000 with a $400,000 balance at 7.75 or 7.375. We do not rent the house and will refinance once the rates come down. Proud to say I'm a 3 years sober. In Irish enjoys Jameson and Guinness. Shocker. Here's the deal. All right. $1 million in a brokerage account, $450,000 in a Roth IRA, $225,000 in Irish's Roth IRA, $230,000 in money market for emergency fund and cash reserves, $800,000 in Irish's traditional 403b, $50,000 in Roth 403b. Irish puts away $24,500 in a Roth 403b, and the company puts in $10,000 in that same plan. Okay, income me, $96,000 tax-free with the COLA for life, and Irish makes $225,000. We would like to withdraw an amount of $8,000 per month when Irish hits 56 years old, in addition to my income.
Okay.
All right. So he makes $100,000. They want to pull out
another 100.
Another hundy.
Yep.
All right. Assuming an 8% return, I anticipate a total of $5 million. Our plan is to live off the cash of 460,000 while Irish is age 56 to 59 and do Roth conversions since our income will be very low or very little taxable income. Is this a good plan? Do you have any other advice or options? Does it make sense to pay taxes for Roth conversions out of the brokerage account or use the cash? Our goal is to have $3 million in our Roths when Irish hits 60 years old doing conversions. After spending down our brokerage account, our goal is to take the earnings annually from the Roth, meaning that if we have $3 million and the market does 10%, and we pull out $300,000 in tax-free funds and live out those monies in cash until we need to make another Roth withdrawal while leaving the $3 million balance. Is this a dumb idea? Side note, when our youngest is out of the house, we will live in Ireland for 3 months per year. Thanks for what you do. Go Navy. All right. Let me add this up. What did they got total? He's got $1 million in a brokerage account, $450,000 in a Roth. So
Yeah.
4, 5, 6. So they got 700,000 in Roths today.
Yeah, 725 in Roth. They got about 2.8 million overall.
Okay, 2.8 million. He's 52. She's 47.
Yeah, and
All right.
she's going to work. I did a little math, which is that the amount that they have for 9 years, 6%, adding about 35,000. They do end up with about 5 million. So I agree with his number.
But he's assuming 8%.
I know. I got it at 6.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Your calculator's better than his.
Apparently, yeah. And then if they want another 96,000, 8,000 a month in 9 years at 3% inflation, that's about 125K. So first of all, we check the distribution rate, right? 125 divided by 5 million, that's 2.5% distribution rate. So check, we like that. There's a lot of cushion there to do what you want to do. You could probably even spend a little bit more. That wasn't your question, but I wanted to start with that. But Joe, the question was really kind of sequence of withdrawals and Roth conversions.
So he's got a very interesting situation here because he's got a $100,000 pension that's tax-free.
Right.
So-
Which has a COLA. Right.
And it has a nice COLA.
Which is why I ignored that, because I figured that's going to keep up with inflation for the other half of their spending.
So he needs $8,000. So it's like, do I want to do massive conversions here? You could still get probably another $100,000 out of the plan, like each year, and still be in the 12% tax bracket.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would not convert higher than the 12% tax bracket if I was going to do conversions. I would want to keep that diversification strong to keep my liquidity. So cash and brokerage account. You want to have. So you have to map. This is a little bit different circumstance. Is just because he has that huge pension that's 100% tax free.
That's tax free, correct.
And then so you still have the standard deduction, and then you still have another. I mean, it's $250,000 of total income potentially that could come to him, and they'll still be in a very low tax bracket.
Right.
And so if they want to live off $200,000 a year, and they're doing conversions to, let's say, the top of the 22 over that time period, I think they would end up paying too much tax.
I would agree with you. And the other thing is they've already got a lot of money in a Roth. They've already got a lot of money in a non-qualified account. So $800,000 is a lot in tax deferred, but having all that tax-free income provides you a little bit of flexibility. Now, you think about this. So later on, if you have higher medical expenses, those are usually deductible. You can take those out of the IRA and have it be deductible. If you want to give any money to charity at a 2.5% distribution rate, you got some cushion, right? You could do a qualified charitable distribution starting at age 70 and a half. So that doesn't count for required minimum distribution. So you don't necessarily want to drain it out. And if you do drain it out, you probably end up paying higher taxes doing the Roth conversions than you might be otherwise if you did less. Now, I'm not saying to not do any Roth conversions, but I just think you have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to go too far here.
Here's another way to look at this, Flight Deck Dad. I'm looking at $120,000. That's the $8,000 a month that he will need to live off of, given 3.5% inflation by the time he needs a distribution.
Right.
He's got the $100,000 coming in tax-free, so he would need $3 million of liquidity to create the additional $120,000.
Right.
Given a 4% distribution rate.
Sure.
So if I look at that $3 million, he's wanting all of that roughly to be in Roth.
Right.
I would say, man, you could probably have maybe half of that in Roth, half of that in traditional, so you still get a little bit of the tax deduction today, but it's just mapping this out to make this thing sing for you. Because let's say you got 1.5 million in a traditional IRA. 4% of that is $60,000. You're never going to hit like a higher tax bracket from your RMDs.
Right.
You could keep yourself in that 10 to 12 or 15% tax bracket, instead of converting everything. I know this is crazy for some people to believe that you don't want to do that, but this case is a little bit unique where you could do some really cool tax planning. And if you run the numbers appropriately and you get the growth rate of what you think you will, I mean, I think the tax savings could be enormous.
Yeah, I think one thought that could change that is I don't know what happens to the tax-free pension if he were to die. Maybe that goes away. Maybe and then Irish girl is in a higher tax bracket as a single taxpayer. That could change the delta just a little bit. So you got to think about that too, maybe.
Yep, I agree. Okay, cool. Thanks, Flight Deck Dad.
The top 3 barriers to retirement for most people are not having enough retirement savings, not having a formal plan, and overspending. This week on Your Money, Your Wealth TV, Joe Anderson CFP and Big Al Clopine CPA show you how to break through those retirement barriers. Click or tap the link in the episode description to watch it on our YouTube channel. Then calculate your financial blueprint for free to help you determine your probability of retirement success. Just input your income and savings, investments and debt, and your expenses and goals. The financial blueprint tool will analyze your current cash flow, assets, and projected spending for retirement and output a detailed report outlining what you can do now to help you achieve those retirement goals. Minimize stress, maximize life, and prepare for the future. To start taking control of your retirement, just click the financial blueprint link in the episode description.
Dear Joe, Big Al, Andy, this is Bert from New Jersey. I've been listening to your podcast since about 2018 while driving or walking and going about in other daily activities. The friendly banter makes listening to an enthralling financial podcast even more fun.
Nice.
All right. I'm trying to make a decision on whether to do a Roth conversion or take advantage of the 0% qualified income tax rates. 0% qualified income tax rates.
I think he's talking about capital gains.
That's what I'm thinking too. But
Yeah.
qualified income tax rate.
Well, qualified dividends fall under that, so maybe
Okay.
that's where he got it.
Got it. I'm 55 years old and work as a software engineer, but intend to stop working for money and trying something different. My husband, Ernie, is 61, on disability, and has significant disability income. We spend about $200,000 per year. We have a total of about $7 million. I'm going to work only part of this year, so my taxable income will be reduced to about $40,000 ordinary and $42,000 of dividends. That leaves us qualified income to be taxed at 0% and even some room for tax gain harvesting. In 2026, there could even be more tax at 0% since I won't be working. Ernie's non-taxable income is about $111,000 per year. My annual non-taxable income is $8,000 from an inherited Roth RMDs. Okay. Our taxable income is $113,000 AGI. Here's our assets: pre-tax $2.5 million, Roth $2 million, taxable $2.7 million, with about another $2 million basis there. We have HSAs of about $12,000. I'm going to liquidate in 2025 based upon the 2024 medical expenses because I'm not itemizing. I have a cash value pension worth about $28,000 that I expect to start drawing $4,000 of benefit annually in 2035 based on the benefit schedule. I am doing maximum 401k pre-tax contributions instead of Roth at this job before I terminate my employment. I can reverse the tax impact of this decision later if I want to do a Roth conversion. If I want to further reduce our non-qualified income to leave room for more qualified income, I can move some assets. Okay. I could hold more the non-qualified income producing assets in a pre-tax IRA once I stop working and roll it over. This guy's an engineer, right?
Yes.
Theme.
Yeah, the vocabulary he uses on some of the stuff. These assets I could move would be cash, bond, ETF, and some stock ETFs with a lower qualified income percent. Most people are like, "What is he talking about?" I'm even trying to
even we're
having a
trying to
tough time to
follow
follow here with qualified income percent. The hell is qualified income percent?
He's talking about the percentage of his income that's
I
qualified versus
understand.
non-qual.
Yeah, there again, I think he means capital gain.
My-
That's what I'm going with.
But then, yeah, he uses the same term with two different words:
Yes.
Or-
right.
qualified income percent and capital gains. Just pick one, just so we can all follow along. My thought is that I should take advantage of the 0% capital gains tax bracket for the next few years while I still can. I'm not adding to the pre-tax IRAs or 401ks, and since they are heavily invested in bonds, they should grow at a slower rate than the rest of my investments. I can withdraw the inherited pre-tax IRA starting in about 3 or 4 years from now when the RMD's time for the regular IRAs, assuming that tax rates stay the same for the next 15 to 20 years. I can do some QCDs from the IRAs to keep the AGI in check. Drive a 2016 Mercedes C300 or historic 1997 Saturn. Wow. Saturns, they still make Saturns?
No, that went out a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have a Saturn?
No,
Oh.
but I knew about it.
Ernie drives a 2021 Jeep. We enjoy an IPA, but usually the non-alcoholic variety. There's non-alcoholic IPAs?
Yeah. Athletic. It's actually pretty good.
Athletics and IPA?
Athletic beer.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard of
it's
that.
in San Diego.
I didn't know that was an IPA.
Well, they have all different kinds.
Oh, I suppose you can
including IPAs.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. So what's the question?
Should he do
Well,
Roth conversions or do the 0% capital gains tax rate?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the question. And so let me recap. So he's got about $7 million, and 2.2 million is pre-tax, 1.9 is the brokerage. Is the Roth, and 2.75 is taxable. So here's let me sort of explain the question as I understand it. So when you are in the 12% bracket, ordinary income tax bracket, which is about $96,000 of taxable income for a married couple, right? Then your capital gains are taxed at zero. Your long-term capital gains are taxed at zero, including your capital gain dividends and your qualified dividends. They're taxed at 0%. But once you go over that 96,000 of capital gain income, they're taxed at the 15% rate.
And that's taxable income.
Taxable income. Yeah, that's exactly right. Taxable, not total income, taxable income. So then the question is, well, I basically have about zero income this year, or not very much income this year. Should I go ahead and sell some of my stocks or mutual funds at a gain up to that 96,000 of taxable income and pay zero tax, or should I concentrate on Roth conversions? So I think, Joe, that's the question. And my answer would be, when you've got $7 million and 2.2 million of pre-tax, I would focus more on Roth conversions. I think that's more important. However, there could be an exception, and that is if you've got brokerage investments that you would like to sell and diversify because you're too concentrated, then I might switch my answer to go ahead and start tax gain harvesting, or maybe even in some cases sell additional and pay the 15% tax just to get a better investment allocation.
He's 55 years old. He's a software engineer. He's going to stop working for money. Try something different.
Yeah, volunteer, I'm guessing.
All right, so he's got 20 years. So he's going to contribute to the retirement account for another year. He's going to go pre-tax. So let's just call $2.5 million sitting in a pre-tax account, or even two to be conservative.
Yeah, and then that
20 years
that could double twice.
It's going to be $8 million.
Could be, yeah.
4 times 8, that's a big number. $160,000 is going to be the RMD plus Social Security plus whatever taxable pension. Plus he's got a couple million, $3 million in a taxable account. There's going to be interest and dividends and everything else that spits off of that. He's going to be in a lot higher tax bracket potentially because his partner Ernie has got almost $120,000 pension coming to him tax free.
Right.
Or is that it's a disability payment?
Disability, yeah.
I don't I don't think that stops. $111,000 that's coming to them with no taxes.
Yeah, right.
There's more
Right.
information that I took out of there. His private disability policy, which is about half of it, ends at Social Security full retirement age, and then he's got VA disability that ends at death.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and then let me just sort of interject too that your math was just a little off. 4 times 8 is 32, so 320,000 would be the RMD.
Oh, there you go.
Just to add to it, plus all the income from the brokerage account, right, and Social Security. So it's going to be the point is it's going to be a big number, a high tax bracket. And so that's why I would probably favor Roth conversions unless you want to rebalance the account, because what we talked about, if you want to diversify a little bit more, maybe you focus more on that. But you've got plenty of time to actually do both depending upon your situation.
Yeah, congratulations on the mighty net worth that they
Yeah,
built
it's
up.
fantastic.
All right, we got Bellevue, Washington. Michael, he goes, "Hey Joe, Big Al, just started listening to you about a month ago. I really enjoy the single malt whiskey neat. All right, well, single malt whiskey neat. My wife prefers a good Italian red wine. We're both 34, currently making right about $350,000 a year, give or take, with various bonuses. We have $342,000 in retirement accounts, mainly invested in mutual funds and index funds. 175,000 of that is in Roth IRAs. We're currently maxing out my wife's Roth 401k, both the Roth IRAs. Her employer matches all her 401k contributions in the traditional 401k, so an extra $11,500 a year. Since we're in the 24% tax bracket, should we be contributing to the Roth 401k or should we do regular? We also do not have a brokerage account. It would like to retire early, sometime in our early to mid 50s. Should I slow down our retirement contributions and start building a bridge account for the years we want to retire before we have access to our retirement funds? Thank you for your thoughts. I have greatly enjoyed listening through many of your past episodes since I discovered your show. Cool. Thank you, Michael. Bellevue. We got a pretty big presence now in
Bellevue.
the greater Seattle
We
area.
do. A couple offices, right?
Yeah. Redmond in Mercer Island.
Correct.
I
think I know your answer.
34 years old. All Roth, baby. All Roth IRA.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I do, and here's why. For me, it's because, well, first of all, 24% it's a pretty good bracket compared to historical brackets, at least over my career. That's number one. Number two, you're what? 34. You're 34. You're probably going to make more money as you age, as you get older, as you get more experience.
You're making a ton of money now, though.
Already.
350 grand?
I know, but it's probably only going up, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. So I would stick with Roth right now. Maybe later you're making 500,000 or whatever, then send us a note. We'll discuss it again. But Roth conversions or Roth option right now.
So here's to bridge the gap. There's FIFO tax treatment in Roth IRAs. So first in, first out. So you can always take out the contributions of a Roth IRA and not pay any tax on those. And you have access to those dollars at any time. So I highly don't recommend that you're using the basis of Roth IRAs to bridge the gap versus a brokerage account. But I would, if I can max out Roth IRAs, that's where I want to go, because I love tax-free growth all day long. So if I'm not fully funding all Roth options that I have at age 34 and there's still room in Roth, I'm going to go Roth. But now let's say if you make more money or you spend less money or something happens or you get a larger bonus, max out those retirement plans first, because there's contribution limits. There's only so many dollars that you can put into Roth IRAs as a contribution, or Roth 401ks or 403bs or whatever plan that you have. After you max those out, then that's when I would think about the brokerage account. So, because you have access to these plans and it's hard enough to get the money in there.
Yeah. And I think the other thing to realize is at age 55, if you can work till age 55, you said early to mid 50s, if you can work till age 55, you have full access to your Roth 401k and your traditional 401k without penalty. As long as you're working at age 55 and then you retire with your 401k, you have access to that and there's no 10% penalty. So I think a lot of people don't really know that rule. They think everything's 59 and a half.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks for listening.
Including the 2 Seattle area offices the fellas mentioned, Pure Financial Advisors now has 12 nationwide locations. We're in Northbrook and Wheaton in the Chicago area, Greenwood Village in the Denver area, Prescott, Arizona, Lehigh near Salt Lake City, Utah, and in 5 California locations: Davis, Brea, Woodland Hills, Irvine, and our original San Diego headquarters. Pure is still growing, which means more experienced professionals on Joe and Big Al's team, able to provide you with more conflict-free one-on-one financial guidance from more locations without selling you any investment products. But here's the thing. You can schedule a financial assessment with Pure no matter where you are. That's literally what Zoom is for. So even if you're right next door to one of our offices, but you'd rather get a professional, free, in-depth review of your finances while you're at home, in your jammies, on your couch, you totally can. Just click or tap the free financial assessment link in the episode description to book yours. Or if you'd rather do it the old-fashioned way, just call 888-994-6257 and schedule your assessment now. And if you're still not sure, check out yourmoneyyourwealth.com to learn more about us, then hit the green Get an Assessment button at the top of the page.
Hi, Andy and the fellers. Oh, boy. This is Frenchie from Maine. The 2024 YMYW survey winner with $100. Thanks again. I bought lots of green tea and a bike lock. Dishwashing pods for the first time in my life. New homeowner.
That $100 went for a lot of good
Wow,
stuff.
she bought some lotion and some sunblock. Well, thank you for everything that you purchased with that $100.
Right.
She bought some dishwashing pods. What the?
Never had them.
Oh,
She's a new homeowner.
oh my God! It's a first-time homeowner. All right,
Yeah.
Congratulations, Frenchie from Maine. I will once more be representing your wealthy listeners. Or you were still looking for some. Okay, I'm 54. I live out in the country for a decade. My monthly Social Security currently is projected to be quite low. One reason why I plan on working until at least 70, the heavens willing. My drink of choice is, you guessed it, green tea. I thought she was going to say dishwashing pods. I'm still driving around in my 2000 Toyota Avalon with the sunroof and $150,000 miles, which I inherited from my mother. 2 questions today that I was hoping to get a little spitball on. Number 1, as someone new to debt of any sort, I'm eager to pay off my mortgage for the condo I bought several months ago. The mortgage is quite manageable, however, as I put a very low down payment. I'm not certain that I'll be here at this place long term. Is there any tax or general wealth disadvantage to paying off the mortgage as quickly as possible, especially if I do not itemize my taxes at this time? The only thing about paying down debt super aggressively is that you want to make sure that you have adequate liquidity, cash reserves. We get people, hey, I'm paying this thing off, and they everything goes to the debt, and they don't have enough cash. Something happens, and they're just refinancing their house.
Yeah,
anyway
they're borrowing again, right? Yeah, so I guess the way I would say it is make sure you have your emergency fund set aside. Make sure you're saving appropriately for your retirement accounts. If you're still working, you probably still have a 401k or something like that. Make sure you're funding that first. Make sure you got a little money outside a retirement brokerage account. And if you still have extra money, then start paying down that mortgage a little bit. But it would help to know how much you have in assets and also what the interest rate is, because those two are going to impact how we might say it too. But I think the main point, I guess, is that people are sometimes so aggressively paying off their mortgage, they don't have any savings, and that's not good either.
Frenchie, I would just go for it. She just bought the condo a couple months ago. She's probably paying, what, 7% on
It's
the
probably
mortgage?
high. So the way I would look at refinancing when rates come down, that's what I would do.
There's no tax advantage of keeping that mortgage or aggressively paying it off because she's got the standard deduction.
Yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
all right. Number 2, along with the Toyota Avalon, I inherited 2 small bond funds from my mother when she passed away a few years ago. They are in my brokerage fund, and they give off a small amount of income each month that I reinvest in those funds. I heard Big Al mention that in a taxable account such as funds may not be tax efficient. However, I either will keep that money in those bond funds or simply put them in a money market fund also in that taxable account. Is there a difference, tax efficiency-wise, whether I'm earning interest off that money in a money market fund or dividends off those in bond funds. That money is currently part of my security fund, and I'd like to keep it pretty stable. Okay, so that's her cash reserve.
Yep.
So it sounds like she's got that buttoned up.
Sure.
So from a cash flow perspective, going back to question 1, Frenchie, I would aggressively pay off the mortgage. Is there a tax benefit from a bond fund to a money market fund? The money market fund is going to be more stable.
Yeah, they're both taxed the same way, unless it's a municipal bond, which is tax-free. Whether you need a municipal bond or not is dependent upon your tax bracket, because typically they pay a little bit less than regular bonds that are taxable, so just consider that.
All right. By the way, I wrote in over a year ago, and you were wondering on the show what a Franco-American is.
Okay,
You remember that,
I don't, but we
But,
probably didn't know.
Andy?
She said that she was Frenchie from Maine and that she was Franco-American. And you said, what the heck does that mean?
I have no idea. I do now. We are
Yeah.
descendants from Quebec.
That's what it means.
We are all over Maine, the largest ethnic group here. We're hardworking and really cool. Thanks for all the three of you do. A real pleasure to hear you each week. By the way, I started an MBA program, so soon I'll be writing and correcting you. Haha, Frenchie. All right,
Okay.
you wanted the crew.
Thank you all for sending us your spitballs. Technically, you're all part of the crew because Your Money, Your Wealth is your podcast. Next week, Joe and Big Al spitball on rebalancing your asset allocation, muni bonds in a brokerage account, and emergency funds for DJ in St. Louis, Coach Dauber in Minnesota, and Daniel in Stevensville, Michigan, respectively. Tim the Enchanter and Duke in upstate New York, your spitballs will be featured too. If you haven't gotten your own retirement spitball analysis yet, what are you waiting for? Click or tap Ask Joe and Big Al in the episode description. Watch my how-to video, then send us an email or a voice message, and I'll see that it gets to the fellas. Your Money, Your Wealth is presented by Pure Financial Advisors, a registered investment advisor. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this podcast and does not represent that the securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. As rules and regulations change, podcast content may become outdated. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the podcast in the process of making a full and informed investment decision.